waifus, trade fights for better views. We both need something new. Maybe we should just tell them. I should've think I used somebody. So long to rendezvous.
Hello, hive-minded readers, and welcome to the Books and the Bees podcast. Just like bees play a crucial role in pollinating flowers and sustaining life, books pollinate minds and nurture the soul. We see the connection between the two, the delicate dance of ideas, and stories that enrich our lives.
I'm Cody.
I'm Hailey.
Welcome to our podcast.
Hello.
Hey, hello.
Woo woo.
Episode 13. Let's go.
Yeah. Last part of the Ice Planet Barbarians.
Yes. I'm very excited to talk about this part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How you doing, Hailey?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm currently battling with seasonal allergies, trying to,
Allergies are the worst.
Yeah, it is the worst, and it's approaching, and it's like already so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah. I haven't been hit too hard yet, but it usually happens for me more so in the fall than it does the spring, actually. I'm not sure why, but
Yeah, mine are usually worse in the spring, I think.
really.
Yeah, and they actually haven't been that bad since we moved, but living here. But yeah, I still have to take like a Benadryl every once in a while and like a daily allergy pill just to skate by.
Yeah. My wife, she usually gets her allergies in the spring, and so she's been taking Claritin or whatever it is. She takes one that starts with an X. I can't remember what it's called, like not xylitol, but
Trying to remember.
yeah, it's one of those, and it works really well. I take it when I need it. And then we have a cat who has allergies, like her eyes get really runny. Yeah, poor Luna. And so we cut up allergy pills into quarters and give her one of those. And this is usually the time we have to give them to her, like almost every day. So she loves that.
Oh yeah, I bet. Gosh.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So,
I can't imagine giving a cat a pill of any sort anyways. They're so like against it.
Yeah, she's actually better than our other cat Oreo. Whenever we have to give him a pill, the vet gave us like this applicator that you like stick towards the back of their tongue to like shoot it past like the arch of their tongue so that they can't kick it back out. But with Luna, I don't have to do that because I can just kind of open her mouth, and if I just drop it right, she'll just swallow it. But every once in a while she fights me. So
Owning animals, right?
owning animals. Yeah. Speaking of which, how's the new puppy?
He's good. He's getting so much bigger, and we call him Tiny Man. Well, actually, we call him Tiny Man and Teeny Tiny Man. And he's just so cute. And he now knows sit, and he's learning lay down.
Nice.
We're like slowly starting to get used to the steps up to our porch. He's still kind of unsure on going down. He knows how to go up them fairly easy, but yeah, the going down part's really hard. Which like I understand. I can imagine how like weird that would be as like a dog to be like looking down at something and not knowing or understanding how it works.
Yeah.
But
sure.
yeah, so he's good though. He's really good, really cute. He has his last round of shots in like 3 weeks, so soon we can start like actually taking him out and about in the world instead of just like we have a pouch that Jake like totes around that we got for Nova, our other dog, when she was a puppy, and now we are using it for Wrexham, and yeah, it's so cute because he's just a little big dog in a pouch.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so cute.
Yep. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
It's great. Maybe I'll post. Oh well, I think I do have a picture of him in the pouch. When we went to Barnes and Noble. So.
Oh.
I'll have to post that on our Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be
it's
great.
Adorable. It's a really cute picture.
I love puppies and kittens.
They're so good.
Yeah, they
They
are.
bring so much joy.
Yeah. I just came back from a conference and they had therapy dogs there to like
Mm-hmm.
pet
Oh,
in between sessions and stuff, and they were so cute. They were
that's
just little
so
tiny baby
nice.
doggies. They were so cute.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. But I
That's
only got to see them once, so that was disappointing.
aw. Well, they
Yeah,
need to have more dogs then.
they do. They really, really do. Yeah. Should have been a dog
Clearly.
conference. Should have been all dogs and just me.
Yeah, their ratios were clearly off.
Yeah,
They needed
definitely.
more dog to human.
Yes, 100%. 100%. All right. Well, should we jump into what we're reading?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, Haley, what are you reading?
I am currently just finished a couple of books. I had my first arc, um, which, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like advanced reader copy for our
Yep.
listeners that might not know what an arc is. Um, we, I, I'm sure a lot of people, different people do it, but I've seen people get like the direct copy from the authors for arcs. I've seen people get the ebooks. I've seen people, I think you can also do like audio listening for some arcs. But yeah, I signed up and I got approved and I jumped on a book because I saw it and I was like, I need this book. And yeah, so the book in question is called Worst in Show by Anna E. Collins. It is a contemporary romance and it's very good. I'm not going to be super spoilery, but it is about a woman who has a pet store slash like old pet rescue, and she finds herself in a kind of enemies to lovers type of situation with a man who um, has a rivalry happening. I'm not gonna get, like I said, I'm not gonna get too much spoilery because I don't know how much I'm allowed to say or not say. So it's really good. I should look up when it comes out because that would be nice. Give me, it comes out August 13th of this year.
Yay.
Yeah, so like pretty soon. Um, I this is the first book that I've read of the author Anna E. Collins. But apparently the author has four more books that are out and published. So
Oh,
you
wow.
know, check her out. I'll probably be reading other books of hers, but yeah, that's the arc that I'm reading, and I really it was enjoy. I really loved it. It was really good.
Sounds great.
Listen, if you give me a romance and it has dogs in it, so like a romance and dogs on the topic of dogs, like listen,
Yep. Yeah.
I'm here for it.
It's a good match. It's a good
Yeah,
pairing. Book or
yeah.
yeah, a book about dogs and romance. I mean, that's just great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if our listeners want to know more about that, I will have I'll have a post about it on my Bookstagram, which will be in the show notes probably, and it's also on our Instagram, the Books and the Bees pod Instagram, um, as well. So if you want to know more about it or read more about it or what I thought about it, go check it out
Woo.
and find out for yourself. Yeah, and
I
then
love it.
yeah, the second book that I just finished, and I mentioned in the last episode that I'd started Done and Dusted, and I finished it a few days ago, and it was so freaking good. Such a good book, by Lila Sage. Yes, Lila Sage. Done and Dusted. It's very good. It's the first book. It's supposed to be, I believe, a trilogy series, but there's one other book out. There's a second book is out currently. So good. I
Mm.
finished it and it was just, I mean, oh gosh, it had like kind of also enemies to lovers. It was like brother's best friend type of romance, which I kind of enjoy those. I think that they're fun. Creates another like level to the romance or the plot or whatever. Um, but yeah, and I must say it did put me in a reading slump because now I'm like, what the hell do I read?
Because it was so good.
It was so good. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was so good. And I really want to read the next book like really bad, but I also don't want to read it because I know that the third book hasn't come out yet. So I'm just like,
You might just have to do it.
I know. But yeah, so those are what I'm reading. What are you reading currently, Cody?
Oh, well, so um, I think I mentioned it last week. I did not read very much this last week because I was at a conference, but I did
Mhm.
finish today The Angel of Indian Lake by Stephen
Mm,
Graham Jones, which was one of my books that I selected for the 2024 reads.
mhm,
It's a final book in a trilogy that he's written. The first book is called My Heart is a Chainsaw, and I've loved every book. Stephen Graham Jones is one of my favorite horror authors. This one involves a girl named Jay Daniels, and there's this town called Proof Rock, Idaho, which is really cool because I live in Idaho.
mhm,
And basically, a bunch of shit goes down, and they have to fight it. It's very much like a slasher horror movie.
mhm,
All three books are that way. I won't say much about the third book because it's really like a conclusion of the first two, and you definitely have to read the first two to get this book. I actually probably should have reread the first two because there was a lot that I think I missed. Because Stephen Graham Jones, well, for one, he's very well knowledgeable in the slasher realm, and I'm not a big slasher person. I've kind of just really gotten into those types of horror movies. And
mhm.
so there's a lot of references and commentary. And so it can be a little challenging to keep up with it. But I just love his writing style. I loved the character Jade. The book was just from like the very first page, all action all the time. It was just constantly going and super easy to read. I definitely recommend it for any of the horror fans out there.
Wow, it sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And he's got another book coming out in July, I think, that is also a slasher themed book that apparently he wrote right before he started this book because he had another story he wanted to get out of his head
Mhm.
before he wrote this book. So I'm excited to read that book too. I think it's called I Am a Teenage Slasher or something like that. But I will probably talk about it when it comes out because I always read his books right when they come out, pretty much.
Mm,
So yeah,
nice.
it's really good. The other book that I'm reading is a novella called Mammoth at the Gates by Nghi, and I think I've mentioned this series before. This is I forget what the name of the series is called, but it's basically about this monk named Chi who travels around this sort of like fantasy version of China, it seems like, where there's mammoths and tigers and all these mythical kind of beings. Not that mammoths were, I guess, mythical, or that tigers are mythical. Okay, they're not mythical beings. They're they're animals, but they could talk.
Animals with mythical, mythical. Wow, why is that such a hard word for me
It
to
is a
say?
hard word to say.
With mythical powers.
Yeah,
How many times am I gonna say that word? I just stop.
it's like a fantasy book, fantasy novellas.
Mm,
All four of them are novellas. They are a part of the same series, but they're interchangeable on the order because they're just separate stories. It's about this monk who travels around and basically catalogs stories of villagers in the different areas of the country that they're in. And so this one is the latest one, and it's about them coming home to their monk like sanctuary, and it's involving their leader who I believe has passed away, and I think that's in the cover, so I'm not giving away too much. I've really just started it. I actually started it this afternoon,
mhm.
and I think that's what the story is about. But I've really loved the series. Nevo is a great author. I love everything that they write, and so when I read these books, I'm always excited about it because they're just very calm and very well written, and just totally an easy, light, calm read, which is great after I just read Angel of Indian Lake. That was very much not a calm, easy read. It's a good palate cleanser for sure.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So yeah, reading those, love them. Yeah. So cool. Good books we're
All
reading.
right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we're getting into some good books. Sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. Haley, do we have any beekeeping that we want to bring up?
Yeah, we do. Well, I do. I just I had something else that I had wanted to mention, and I feel like we stumbled upon the fact that it's what is it? Library Appreciation Week? Is that what it is? Library
Yes. This is National Library Week, April 7th
National
through
Library Week.
13th. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so when I was so I had seen so I know what had happened. I had seen that on Instagram. And because I follow the American Library Association American I'm gonna butcher that so bad. Why can't I talk today? American Library Association on Instagram. There we go. Um, and they have like really cool posts, really informative. They also have like a link that you can click on and go to their website that has tons of other information. Um, but today, while I was looking for that it was Library Week, they posted today that it's National Take Action for Libraries Day. So, yeah, it's for library advocacy. I think that that's really cool.
Yay.
If our listeners want to know more, definitely check out the American Library Association on Instagram or online. You can go to their website. I'm sure you can type it in Google. Um, but yeah, I just thought that was really cool. I was like, wow, what a fun thing that today of all days that we're recording. That's
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I love libraries. We've said it before. We're both big library fans. I use my library all the time. The books that I just talked about, both of them came from the library. That's how I read predominantly, is from
mhm,
library books. So the fact that they provide books to the public, and they do so much more. They have computers and workshops and all sorts of
mhm,
stuff that they do to help with the community. And so we should always be advocating for our libraries. And it's good to be reminded of that every once in a while.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. So, if our listeners are want to check out their local, like, what a nice like way to spend the day,
Yeah,
or your night or weekend or whatever, go to your local library and check it out and see what they have to offer. Maybe find a good book. I don't know.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Go in there. And if you haven't been in the library in a long time, just go in and maybe get a card if you want, and just
Yeah.
see what's up.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be so cool. I need
Yeah.
to do that. I haven't. I'm sure I probably have a library card just kind of fluttering about in some box somewhere
Yeah.
from our local library back home years ago, but yeah. Or it's probably shoved in a wallet somewhere that I forgot about.
They do get lost easy for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. They probably do now, but it'd be so cool if they had like those little keychain things like you can get when you like sign up for like if you've ever been to like a grocery store and they have you like sign up like Walgreens or whatever, and they
Yeah.
give you like that little keychain that you can have, and it's like a little card thing. I don't know if they have those, or if it's like maybe some libraries do, some libraries don't. I don't know, but that'd be a
Yeah.
cool thing to have so I don't forget it everywhere.
Yeah. I've never seen one of those, but that's a great idea. I actually don't even use my library card physically anymore because I
Hmm.
read all my books through the ebook, and so I have it just
Yeah.
on Libby. And
Yep.
so if I do go to the physical book library, then I use it. But most of the time, I can just use my e card. And now my specific library also has a separate app to check out physical books
Mm.
if I want to. I can just check them out there and then go pick them up. They'll put them on hold for me. So
Oh, that's really cool.
yeah, it's really helpful.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that libraries are like still sticking with the times as we advance
Yes.
into, like I feel like when I was little, I probably never would have thought that our libraries like would ever have like an app. Not that apps even existed at that point, but at least that I know of. I know I'm not that old, but I'm still,
Yeah.
old enough
Yeah.
for
Their apps are pretty new. Apps are pretty
yeah,
new. Yeah,
they're pretty
for
new.
sure. Definitely
And
were not
and
around when I was a kid.
yeah, yeah. And speaking of Libby, Libby also has an Instagram, and they're fun to follow as well. So
That's
if our
true.
listeners are looking for some other cool thing to follow, go follow them on Instagram. They have a cool thing.
Yeah, I think you sent me like a thing to like a giveaway that they were doing, right?
Yeah.
To get
Hmm.
like a mug or
Yeah.
like sweatshirt or something. Yeah, that was really cool. I don't think
Yeah.
I won, but
I thought it was cool. I was like, that's so cool. They have like their own merch, and I really like their colors. Their colors are really
Like
fun.
the purple, like
Yeah, and
blue.
it's like a teal. Yeah,
Yeah, I love it.
it's
I
nice.
love it.
It's a nice contrast.
That's what Goodreads should do. Like
Yeah,
Goodreads needs to change it to be Libby colors, which is probably illegal, but you know.
yeah. They're like, we have copyrighted
Yeah.
these. Those are ours.
But you know, just change it up. Just change it up
Yeah,
a little
please.
bit.
We're begging.
We're begging, literally begging.
Yes, please.
Actually, contact us, Goodreads. Call us. We will be your
Yes,
consultationists for the color scheme, and we'll
yes.
make sure that the readers love it. And then you
Yeah,
can pay us a lot of money to do that.
yeah. We'll be your what's that like peer group or whatever peer review.
Oh yeah, like a
Anyway,
focus group type
yeah,
of thing.
focus group. That's what
Yeah,
I was looking for. Yeah,
yeah, it's a great idea. We'll
that's awesome.
I'll call Amazon up right now. Be like, yo, let's
Y-
go.
Yeah, your people call our people,
Yeah,
and by people, it's us.
yeah, yeah. There's no other team,
Yeah,
no
other
other
people.
partners on the Books and the Bees team right now.
Yeah. How crazy would that be?
That'd be pretty wild. Not gonna lie.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would be.
I would laugh so hard.
Me too. Uh, well, any other beekeeping we want to bring up?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
that's good because we are going to jump into completing Ice Planet Barbarians. So that's part
Hmm.
3, which is page 160, all the way
Hmm.
through the bonus epilogue, which I think is like 243 or something like that.
Yeah, I can
Uh,
look it up. 248.
248.
Yep.
So if you haven't read that part yet, you might want to pause and go finish it. I would be surprised if people who are reading along with us did not finish it already because we were struggling to pause to stop ourselves. So I imagine most of the viewers have finished it. My wife actually read it in a 2 day span. So
Oh wow.
yeah. So yeah, let's jump into it. Hailey, what were your thoughts on part 3?
Okay, so I guess we'll get into some of my thoughts. And I know last episode, I had mentioned that it has one of my like major ick tropes, um, which is like a pregnancy trope. Not, and let me first disclaimer, I have nothing wrong with pregnancy. I have tons of friends who have either just had kids or have kids already. I have nieces, nephews. I'm a woman. Like, pregnancy is not the issue. It's like, well, I don't know what the issue is exactly because I have yet to like divulge into that, like, reasoning behind why it weirds me out so much. Um, but I like my romance sans pregnancy. Okay, like just, to put it out there. And again, like I said, there's nothing wrong with pregnancy or being pregnant. Or, if pregnancy tropes in romance is your cup of tea, that good for you. So proud of you. Like you're
Yes.
awesome. Like great. But for me, absolutely not. And when I saw it in and honestly though, thank goodness that it was in the third part because I feel like if it was any sooner in the book, I wouldn't have finished the book at all because like I had kind of a hard time after um after like it being mentioned. I had kind of a hard time finishing the book after that because it was like I don't know, like I think I was just expecting like the end of the last part of the book to be more like them getting to know each other.
Mm, yeah.
Like what her life is like now in like the um within the group, alien group, I guess. Like I don't know. I kind of felt like a little let down too. I don't know if that's something that you felt, but I kind of like found myself not anticlimactic, but it was like, oh, because it had such like good, like I feel like the second part was so meaty and like good details and like
Hmm.
information, and they were like plot building, and which honestly I feel like every good book has that where they you can kind of tell when you're reading a good book. It kind of like has a build up, and then towards like the very like last third is when it hits the climax, and then everything past into the last third of the book is like kind of wrapping up the story.
Yeah.
And I feel like this did a really good job of that. They had a good intro, it was good throughout the middle, and then it kind of like hit the climax of the story. And then for me, it was a little lackluster. Um, Not that it wasn't good, because I did think it was really good. I thought overall it was a good book, but with the pregnancy trope and the kind of lack of getting to know Georgie and lack of getting to know her and Bechtel's relationship towards the end, and like them getting to explore that, kind of felt meh, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of my thoughts. At least the first few, anyways.
Yeah, I have similar thoughts. I don't necessarily dislike the pregnancy trope.
Hmm.
Um, I kind of saw it coming because she mentioned it before, like, oh, I can have sex with him because his sperm won't react with my
Hmm.
egg and
Hmm.
whatever. But what I didn't like was that he knew he was going to get her pregnant, or like he had
Yeah.
some sort of, you know, situation where he knew that he was going to get her pregnant, and then she did not know. And I totally felt like it was another one of those like consent issues where it's like you
Hmm.
should have a conversation with an alien that
Yeah.
like there's a possibility
Yeah.
you're going to get pregnant. Like he knew for
Yeah.
sure she was going to get pregnant and didn't say anything, and he
Yeah.
should have.
Yeah. That's a
Um,
really good point. I
yeah,
actually really like that thought. That's yeah, I agree.
like I consent is good. Consent's really
Hmm.
good.
Hmm.
So I think that's what this book could improve on is more consent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the aspect I didn't like with the pregnancy. I also felt the way that she pivoted to being just okay with like staying on the planet, having his
Hmm.
babies,
Hmm.
adopting the lifestyle. I thought was a little unrealistic. I get that this is a
Hmm.
short book and it was released in parts, and so that's probably why it feels a little different. And I think the flow of the book was really good until this part
Yeah.
because I actually I feel like the climax for me was not a real like climax because in
Hmm.
my opinion they were building up the return of the aliens that had originally abducted them. And the
Hmm.
number one thing I'm pissed about, besides the pregnancy thing, which is pretty big for me, is the fact that the aliens came back to find the girls, and then they were just like, "Well, can't find them. We're just gonna leave." It's like,
Yeah.
what? What kind of a story is that? That's nothing. That's
Right.
why even mention it? Why even mention
I
it?
know. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Didn't
That
I did
that's
not
a
like that at all.
that's a really good point. And I think you and I had talked about that a little bit um when you told me that you had finished the book, because it was like
Mm,
it's such a like weird, and I agree, why even put that in there if you were just going to be like, "Oh, yep, and I think Vectel said that like, oh, he'll deal with the whatever the little I imagined like mini Yetis. I don't know why the way
yeah,
that they described them in the book, I imagined like little mini like 2 feet tall Yetis.
yeah,
They're like, oh, they can deal with them. That's what those aliens will deal with instead of the like finding that the girl. And I'm just like, that doesn't make sense that these people or these people these aliens come to these planets, abduct women, and then like as their like treasure essentially, like they're like, no, this is like our loot, you know. That
right.
sounds so awful, but
That's how they perceive
it's
it.
it
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
it's like really they're like a hot commodity. And then the whole point is that they're gonna like the girls actually don't ever get to find out, at least in this book they don't ever realize like what would have happened to them. But essentially the kind of like feel that you get from the book is that they were going to sell them, or they were going to do something of value with these women.
yeah,
And then these aliens are supposedly searching the uh planets, universe, whatever for them, and then they find them on this planet where the crash had happened, and they're just gonna leave their spoils to a planet and go, oh yep, cut our losses. Whoops,
Yep.
lost some people. Like more,
Exactly.
more somewhere else. I don't know. It was very strange.
That's exactly my problem. Because I was talking the first two parts, it really felt like good sci-fi to me, and
Yeah.
like I was enjoying the plot as much as I was the
Hmm.
romance. And then in part three, I there was very little plot, and
Hmm.
there was a good amount of romance, and the romance was good.
Yeah.
Can't complain about the romance, but the plot itself was not there for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah. The other thing I didn't like was when the I think this part starts when Vectel and Georgie are going back to uh, get the girls from the crash site, right?
Hmm.
Um, and they bring all the other males of the tribe back, and
Yeah.
like basically all the males are just horny right out of the
Hmm.
jump, and these girls are like they've crashed on a different planet. They've been abducted. They've crashed
Yeah.
on an ice planet. They have been living in a tiny spaceship,
Yeah.
and like the first thing out of their mouths is like, "Oh, there's just a bunch of men here. How cool!" And they're like attractive.
Yeah. Which I'm like, I don't think that'd be your first reaction,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's a romance book, so you have to kind of give them that liberty. But still, it was a little bit weird for me.
Yeah.
And then Vectel was like telling all the guys, "Don't just jump on these people's bones. It's not what that's
Yeah.
not what they're used to." But then one of the main other men, Rahosh, I think is how you say his name.
Hmm.
He takes a girl. He takes a Liz, and they just
Yeah.
leave. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
He's
bro,
like,
what? You're just gonna let him take her?
he said, bye. I got mine.
Yeah, he's
See
got.
you later.
I got my bag. I'm done.
Yeah.
And I think it's because book or part, well, not part two, but book two, I think is Rahush and Liz's story. So
Hmm.
I can see they're setting it up for it. Um,
Yeah.
but it was like, really, right after he tells you
Hmm.
guys not to do it, and you do it, and there's no
Yeah.
repercussions. Like Vectel's like, oh, we're just not gonna be able to find him, so we'll just have to wait for him to come back.
Yeah. Yeah. I also agree with that. I had the same kind of feelings, but I was more so, and I think I mentioned this in the last episode. It was just so weird to me that all of these women were just so like casual about Georgie and Vectel coming back with like a group
Yes.
of other alien men, and all of the. I'm so sorry, but my first reaction would be, hell no.
Yeah.
There's all these freaking men, like these alien men. I don't. Okay, listen. And also, it kind of also what's the word? Reinforced my kind of feelings that I've had throughout this whole book of reading it. I literally could not get Avatar, the blue people, not Avatar. That's better. Um, I couldn't get them out of. I couldn't not see it. And there's a part in the last, um, in like the very last part of the epilogue, I believe, and I think it's also mentioned like throughout the book about like the cooey purring. They
Hmm.
seem very cat-like,
Yeah,
minus
well,
like the
like with the felt
horns.
skin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the purring and the tails and
yeah.
the yeah, it's very also the way that she describes the hook on his genitalia.
The what?
She referred to it as a barb, and
Oh,
cats
yeah.
have
That's
yeah, and
okay.
cats have yeah, quick veterinarian lesson right now, quick cat anatomy for our listeners who may not know, but cats have barbed penises, so like I was like, that's all I could. I was like, oh my gosh, this is all I can picture right now, and it kind of killed it for me just a smidge. Um,
Yeah, I get that. I get
cause
that.
and I get that there's like a whole group of individuals who enjoy like monster type romance or alien, which I feel like this kind of is a little bit interchangeable because you have like a different species with different things. But yeah, I just could not. I couldn't get past that, and I couldn't get past the fact that the women were so so nonchalant. They're like, "Yep, sure, that's
Yeah.
fine. We're here now. We'll go with what Georgie wants. This is fine."
Yeah. Um, yeah, I really thought that was unbelievable. It definitely took me out a little bit. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't think about the bard part, but now that you mention it, I guess I was thinking of it differently because I thought they described it as like he had a
Yeah,
little protrusion above his penis. Is that
yeah. Well,
yeah.
and that's what I thought too. But then in the last part of the epilogue, she talks about she like specifically called it a barb, and I could not get the picture. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
weird. I was like, okay, I can't, can't. It's done.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting. Um, but you know what what I did like about the
Hmm.
book
Hmm.
is once they brought like the girls back and or maybe even before, um, when they first get to the cave, I really liked meeting everybody in the tribe and
Yeah.
kind of the cave dynamic. Like they had the medicine individual, and
Hmm.
like Vectel was, you kind of flesh out that Vectel's the leader and he's
Hmm.
navigating dynamics of hunters versus non-hunters. And so I really liked that part of it. It reminded me of, other like prehistoric books that I've read, and I thought that
Hmm.
was really good. And I kind of hope that if I read the next book, which I won't tell you if I will or not until the end, so you have to wait to listen to that. You know, I hope the next books kind of play that out a little bit more because I did like the ensemble kind of dynamic that was happening in
Hmm.
the cave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I think I liked the I well, and I found myself like wanting to get to know the other members a little bit.
yeah, me too.
Which I feel like they kind of to a degree speak a little bit more on in the epilogue, which is nice. So you kind of get more of a picture, more of an idea of what the other members are and their names and what they do and that sort of thing. But yeah, I did think that and when I was describing it, I don't know, or when they were describing it, sorry, when the author was describing the donut that they live in, I literally could not picture anything other than a donut.
Yeah, I did picture a donut too.
I was like, they're in a blue cold donut. Got it.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I thought the same thing. Yeah, so I like that part. I hated. Okay, let me say one more thing that I liked before I say the last thing I hated. Um, I thought the part where they get the Kui was
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah.
I liked that. I feel like Georgie had progressed enough in her story to decide if she wanted the Kui or not.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think the other girls had progressed enough,
Yep.
and I was kind of surprised that they all just said, "Okay, we're just going to do it."
Hmm.
And I get that they're on like a time crunch, and there was one girl that was really sick who needed one. But I thought that was interesting. Once she got the Kui, I was interested in kind of how she changed and she was able to purr and like she
Hmm.
felt the mating bond that Vectel had been feeling.
Hmm.
And so like I thought that was mostly a good part outside of the all the other girls signing up for it. But
Hmm.
I guess you don't really have much of a choice if you're stranded on the planet, so I can't
Yeah.
judge it too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Either death or cooey. So pick one.
Yeah. And yeah, I think I'm frustrated with just how the book ended, like on the main story with
Hmm.
the aliens coming back and not doing anything. And I think part of that has to deal with the way the book was released originally, because I think each part was released separately of this book.
Mm.
And so it wasn't like it was combined into a full
Right.
story. And I think if they had chosen to print this as one book like they did, I think they should have rewritten the way the book ended.
Yeah.
And maybe in future books we get more resolution on the new aliens and all these kind of like hanging questions that don't feel resolved.
Hmm.
There's like 19 books apparently in this series.
Holy.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I'm not sure if those are like the individual parts or if they're like books.
Yeah.
So I'm still kind of confused about that. I tried to look up to see how the parts were released and
Mhm.
like when we might get resolution on this part of the story. And I really couldn't find out just because the wiki had like 20 different names of everything. And then they're being re-released in different versions and all this stuff.
Mhm.
And so it's like super confusing. But yeah, I'm curious to see how it continues in the
Yeah.
future.
Same.
Yeah.
Same here.
And then we get the epilogue, the special epilogue, which might not be in everybody's version. I'll say that. If you didn't get an epilogue, maybe you want to pause there and make sure you've read it, or if you
Mhm.
don't want spoilers, double check.
Yeah.
I hated it. I
Yeah.
hated it.
Samesies.
It was terrible.
Thought it was so boring. I was
It
like,
was
this
so.
sucks. And I'm so sorry. That sounds so mean, but I'm just being totally honest.
It was hell. It was boring. You know, I should have guessed based on how long you told me, like that you were still reading it. I thought,
Yeah.
well, I should have guessed how it would be.
Yeah. Yeah, I flew through that whole book, and then I got to
Yeah,
the epilogue, and then I was like, this is okay, I have to finish it.
yeah. It was
But
like, yeah,
yeah, well, and like, I don't know about you, but I was kind of annoyed. I don't know what it is about, and whatever, the author can do whatever they want. It's their book. But to me, I was wanting more, like I kind of already stated, I feel like, but I wanted more like immersion into the group of
yeah,
the other aliens. I wanted to see like had Georgie created any new friendships, had Georgie found any new had she like better integrated the other girls into the freaking society, like, and I guess maybe the author can't really do that without giving a bunch of spoilers into the other um books because everyone else has their own tales. But it's, to me it was a little frustrating because she goes on this whole excursion of hunting and then she sucks at it, and I was like, I wanted her to be good at it.
yeah.
I don't know
Me
what that
too.
was. And I don't know about you, but when I was reading, so when they found the Kuis and I was reading that part and they were taking them in, whatever. I was under the impression that all of the humans changed, like physically, to better attribute themselves to be able to withstand the ice planet that they're on.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then the in the epilogue, it talked about her humanness and being very human like and weak and short and small and blah, and from like Bechtel's point of view. And I don't know why that kind of not weirded, but like irked me a little bit because I was under the impression that now she was just like them because their alien race kind of already, that was the same thing. Like they
Yeah.
were humans and then they evolved.
Right.
So I kind of, I don't know, that part really made me question a little bit. It felt kind of plot holy, just a smidge,
Yeah.
um, to me, anyways. I
I
don't
know.
know.
I agree. I agree completely. I thought it was really unnecessary. It would have been nice if, okay, maybe she's bad at hunting, but she like finds her niche in the
Hmm.
community. Like
Yeah.
not everybody has to be a hunter. I would have
Hmm.
loved if she would have been a decent hunter or like shown
Hmm.
at least promise to be a good hunter, but
Hmm.
she was just completely bad at everything. And
Yeah.
I'm like, do we really have to read this story in 2024 about
Yeah.
how women can't hunt? And so we have to
Yeah.
like make sure that she gets supported by her man. Is like, come on,
Yeah.
this is really dated. And I'd be okay if she was bad at it if they had like redeemed something
Yeah.
about like, oh, she's really good at like, I don't know, beating or whatever that,
Hmm. Yeah.
skinning or who knows what, or that she teaches them how to cook. Like that's what I was also waiting for was like,
Yeah.
yo, why don't you eat this cooked meat and realize how much better it is?
Yeah.
Like,
Season it differently. Maybe
yeah,
like, yeah. No, I agree totally. I had the same thoughts.
yeah. And when I started the epilogue, I thought, oh, she's actually going to end up being an okay hunter, and then she was just terrible. And I was like, well,
Trash.
that's pointless. This is pointless. This
Yeah.
is a completely pointless story that I'm reading right now.
Right. And then I was kind of annoyed about how insecure she was too.
Yes,
Like that
yeah,
was that was annoying.
yeah. I agree with that.
Why?
Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't jive with me at all. I could have never read that and been completely happy.
Mhm.
It didn't fit in the rest of the story at all, in my
Mm-mm.
opinion, and it was probably just something that was published separately that they lumped in together. I'm assuming. So
Mhm.
didn't love it.
Yeah, I agree. It was all right. Overall, well, I don't know about you, but like overall for me, the book was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed reading it, even despite it being towards the end that weird pregnancy trope that usually, honestly, I usually DNF books if that's like if
Oh
I
wow.
if it's if I get wind of it being that, I will not start it. And then if I'm in it and it's in like the first part, I'm like, I can't. It's not for me. And I tend not to DNF books, so that's yeah.
That's
That's
true. You're
really
right.
saying
You don't
something.
DNF
I
books very
I
often.
really don't
Yeah.
DNF. Like I try my best not to. But lately I've been as I've read more over the last couple years. Um, yeah, there's been a couple of books where I was like, "Ugh, that's
Yeah.
not my cup of tea. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, but overall I thought it was good. I don't know. What are your thoughts overall?
I did enjoy the book. Like I said, like the first two parts were good for me. I don't think we said anything bad in the first two parts.
Mhm.
And then part 3 comes and it's very
Yeah.
much not good. Like I just really
Yeah.
did not like part 3 at all.
Yeah.
So, I would, I don't really rate books anymore because
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't feel like I like to just because a lot of people like this book. And so they're
Yeah.
probably giving him 5 stars and I don't want to offend anybody,
Yeah.
but I finished it. I will definitely DNF
Mhm.
a book if I don't like it. So,
Mhm.
it's a testament to me enjoying the book that I finished it.
Mhm.
And I think I will probably try book 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll read all 19 of them because
Yeah.
I don't
That's a
really know
lot.
how much the story can evolve to enjoy 19 books. Like
Yeah, that's a
once you've
lot.
had alien sex once, you've had it a million
Yeah,
times.
especially within the same species too.
Right, right. That's true.
Like we already kind of know, unless they're like different ones are equipped with different things. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So that'd
maybe.
be
Yeah,
interesting to
maybe.
find out.
Maybe. Yeah, I think I'll read book 2 and then I'll probably read the novella that's attached to this book.
Hmm.
And then we'll see how I go after that. I think my wife told me that I think all the books are on Kindle Unlimited. So if you are a Kindle Unlimited
Oh,
person, they're there.
okay. That'll save me some money.
I know you are Haley, yeah, and I'll probably just log into my wife's and read that on hers,
Hmm.
because I don't think they were available at the library. I can't remember if I looked, and I don't know if
Yeah.
I would request it.
Yeah, I cannot imagine. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on your library, but I'm sure there are some libraries that are like, yeah, no, we don't stock that one. Sorry.
Well, yeah, I don't think my library would
Yeah.
not stock it. I know they had like them on the shelf, but I'm not
Okay.
sure about like, you know, I don't know if I would
Yeah.
request it, I guess is what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
not that there's anything wrong with it. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get that. Well, and like I mean the covers, I think the cover art's really cool.
I do too. I
Um
love the cover art.
yeah, for those listeners that might have the physical copy, it's kind of got like the art a little bit of maybe what Vectel looks like and then what Georgie I'm assuming looks like. That's what her
Yeah.
um it's a picture. Well, and I don't know if every copy is the same. So the copies that we have are that,
Well,
but
did you look at the original cover?
no,
You should Google it real
I
quick
didn't. I'm gonna look it up now.
because I want to see your reaction live.
Oh gosh, is it bad?
Because the old covers are not my favorite. I'll admit.
Barbarians. I'm so sorry for my to the listeners that are. I'm sniffly because allergies are so bad. So I'm sorry if I sniff. I
Sniff.
sniffle. If I sniffle. God. Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Aren't they? something.
Well then.
They're like old, for the listeners, if you look them up, honestly, they're like the 2005 version of like teen
Yeah.
romance books. They're so
Oh gosh.
cringy.
Where they have like the real like they took real people and then
Yeah.
they like put them on the page.
Yeah.
It looks
Super
like it
cringe.
yeah, it looks like maybe the part where they're in the cave. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or about to be in the cave. That's interesting.
If I had seen that cover before I started reading, I don't know if I would have read the book, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of those types of covers. I
No, I'm
really am
not either.
not.
I'm not
I
either.
they're it's so I feel like it almost takes away from my ability to imagine the characters in my head
Right.
because I have that thing that like where I have like a hyper imagination. So when I'm reading a book, it's like watching a movie in my head. To the point where it's like very detailed. If the depending on how the author like describes the characters, I can paint a pretty vivid image in my head of what that person looks like. And yeah, I feel like those types of covers really ruin it because it gives
Yep.
me this like predisposition of how this person's supposed to look like, and I'm like, no, let me imagine it.
Yep. Yep. Um,
um,
I also it reminds me of the movie covers, like when a movie comes out and then all the covers change to like the movie poster cover. I hate those. Absolutely hate
Same.
them. Yeah.
I hate that too. It's like stop doing that.
Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it.
They they did that. I don't know to what editions of the True Blood series they changed all the covers to the True Blood
Yeah. Yep.
series poster cover whatever. And the art on those books is really kind of funny but also kind of cute and I really liked them and I liked all of the different titles of the books, but they changed them all to like True Blood blah blah blah. And I'm like, stop that.
Oh, that's even worse. I don't
It's
like that at all.
I hate it. I hate it so much. Like it just ruins it.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Wow. Talk about spoilers though for the other covers.
I, I know. I don't think we said this before, but there is at the end of the books that we have, which are Berkeley published.
Sure.
Um, yeah, they're published from Berkeley Romance. The end of them has a glossary and
Mm-hmm.
pronunciation, but it spoils shit for you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say there's a list of dead people on here that have not died
Yeah.
yet, so don't look at that. And I got spoiled that Georgie becomes pregnant. Like,
Oh really?
I think it was in part two. I got spoiled because I was looking back to see how to pronounce Kui, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw Georgie, and so I read her thing. It's like, oh, she's pregnant, and I was like, what the fuck? She's not pregnant
Mm-hmm.
yet. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
just
messed up.
be careful with that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even look at that part because for the most part I feel like I can understand how to that was one thing that I did actually really like about now that I say that that I did like about this book. A lot of the words, characters, names, etc.
Yeah.
all were fairly easy to pronounce for me. I didn't find myself overly stumbling over their names because that is also something um, that I struggle with just personally. When I'm reading names, I really want to know from the author's point of view what I'm like how those are supposed to be pronounced. And I don't like, for example, when I was reading Akatar, I now know that Rysand's name is Rysand. That whole book, the whole series, really, I was calling him Rysand.
Wait.
That
Okay. So now I'm confused because I heard the opposite.
oh really?
Because I pronounced him Rysand, and for short I called him Rice, right?
Mm.
Rhys. But then
Mm-hmm.
everyone on TikTok
Maybe
is
I'm
like,
wrong.
it's pronounced Riss, and I was like,
Maybe
this
I'm
is
wrong.
not a real name. I mean, it's
I
not a real
could
name
very well be
anyways.
wrong.
But yeah. Well, I here
Don't quote me.
my motto is pronounce it how you want to until the
Mm-hmm.
movie comes out, and then you have to follow the movie
Yep.
pronunciation.
Yeah. Listen, and like back in the day, Harry Potter, Hermione's name was very hard for me. I was like, how the frick is this girl's name supposed to be pronounced? Please, someone tell me.
Oh, that reminds me of in Game of Thrones. The
Yeah.
what's the younger daughter's name? Arya.
Oh yeah.
I pronounced it Araya in my head
Mhm.
until I saw the
Mhm.
series, and I was like, "Oh, it's Arya."
Yep.
Sorry, and then I, pronounce it that way. But yeah,
Yep.
it's tough. It's tough
It
for
is
these
tough.
books.
Yeah. But yeah, that is, I will say that is one thing that I really enjoyed
Yeah, me too.
about,
That was
and
good.
I love when authors put names. I've seen one of the other previous books that I've read, The Night and Its Moon. Piper CJ
Hmm.
puts the, not like a glossary like this, but she puts the names of the characters and how to pronounce them phonetically in the book, which is nice at the very beginning. So she's like, no questions asked. This is how you
Yeah,
pronounce them,
yeah,
which is really nice,
I like
and
that.
I enjoy. Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, I did enjoy the book. I'll end on that. I did enjoy the book.
Hmm.
It's definitely a 5 on the honey scale. It's a honey
Yeah,
frenzy for sure.
yeah.
And I think we knew that going in.
Hmm.
It actually could have. I thought it was going to be a lot more romance than it was,
Yeah.
but it was still. It was good romance and it was good plot intermixed, except for the end. So,
Hmm.
as for somebody from like me who doesn't read romance strictly for the romance per se,
Hmm.
I enjoyed it. Thought it was a good book. I would say
Yeah.
if you are just a little bit curious, try it.
Yeah.
And like just no one cares that you've read the book or not. Like just read it. If it's something that's even remotely interesting with you, just read it.
Hmm.
And at worst you could put it down 20 pages in. But like I actually did enjoy it, and it doesn't deserve the memeing that it gets
Yeah.
in the book community, I think, because
I agree.
there's actually some pretty good writing in it, I would say.
Yeah, I overall I think it was a well-written book. I didn't have a lot of times where I was actually I don't think I had at all times where I found any mistakes or
Yeah,
like grammar errors, spelling mistakes, that sort of thing, which I feel like is getting more prevalent in today's books. It's really annoying and frustrating for me as someone who's that weirdo who hyperfixates on grammar and spelling in a book. That's one of my biggest pet peeves because I'm like, you are paying, unless you're like an indie author, I can understand. But if you're going through a publishing house, no, your editor needs to be on their game. And if they're
yeah,
freaking not catching those mistakes, and that's seriously on them, like, not okay.
right. And this was,
I'm,
or at least the original versions were self-published. So like
yeah,
she did not have an editor;
yeah,
she published them herself. And so
that's
to
amazing.
have that on her own, I don't know if they adjusted like
Yeah.
for that in this release
Hmm.
because this was done through a publishing house, but I imagine not. And yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was great for a self-published book. It just
Yeah.
shows that self-published books are good too. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I totally want to echo that kind of sentiment that even if you are hesitant about reading this book, try it, see if you like it. If you don't like it, put it down. It's okay. It's not for everybody.
yeah,
Alien happy times are not for everybody. But I I think it's good. I think it has a little bit of sci-fi. I think it has a little bit of romance. I think it has a lot of spice.
yep, sure does.
And I I definitely will be reading the next book for sure. Not now, but at some point I'll read the next book.
Yeah,
But yeah, definitely a 5 on the honey scale for sure. So yeah, if you're not into like spicy stuff, I wouldn't read this book. If you're not a big spice person, not probably not for you. But I'm
yeah,
not going to tell you
that's true.
what's for you. Our listeners can decide what's for our listeners.
Yep,
That's your
exactly,
prerogative, you know.
exactly.
So, but
We're
yeah,
all gonna die someday, so read books that you
exactly,
like, and don't read books that you don't
exactly.
like.
Exactly. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah,
And um the and I really don't like the that it's become like a trend to like hate on books that some people like and some people don't like. Like I can understand like how we're doing this where we're kind of like almost like a book clubbing it.
hmm
Um
yeah,
as far as like, oh, this is what I thought, these were the things that I found interesting, this is kind of the things that I didn't like or didn't enjoy, but we kind of like back and forth. I think that the meaning of books that are not to your taste needs to stop, and like it's such a weird concept to actively and publicly hate on something that's so loved by so many different people. um like to each their own, you know what I mean? Like
right.
it's not hurting anybody that you're reading this book. it, it's it's for you and you alone. And if you want to talk to your friends about it, then talk to them about it. If not, if you want to read it by yourself, then read it by yourself.
Yep.
You know?
That's exactly right. Exactly
Yeah.
right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm glad we read it. I'm glad we read
Yes.
it for the pod. So I hope our listeners liked it. Please let
Mhm.
us know what you thought. If
Yeah.
want to go on our Instagram or our email, email
Mhm.
is booksandbeespod@gmail.com. Instagram is at booksandthebeespod. Let us know what you thought
Yeah.
because we'd love your thoughts for sure.
I would definitely be interested to know what other people thought about this book. And if you have any suggestions, maybe about what other books you might think we should read
Yeah.
together. I think
Yeah.
this is fun and I really enjoyed doing this.
I do too. Yeah. I think we should definitely do one, maybe not for May, but for like June, I think.
Hmm.
We could,
Yeah.
maybe do it every other month ish or so. Cool. Well, thanks for listening.
Hmm.
I already mentioned our email and Instagram, but if you also have not, please give us a review on your podcast listening
Hmm.
app of choice. It does help us get more followers. We are definitely trying to grow the pod, and we appreciate all the people that are listening. So if you like us, please give us a review. We're still trying to get on Apple Podcasts. By that, I mean I haven't responded to the fact that they haven't emailed me back yet. So I think I'm going to enlist some third party help.
Yeah.
Somebody that we know has some podcast experience. I think I'm going to reach out to them and see, hey, can
Yes.
you help me out here because they're not reaching out to me. So we'll try to get an Apple Podcast soon. I just haven't had a chance to follow up on that.
Hmm.
So apologies for it. I do want to thank the American Indie for the use of their song Rendezvous. It is a bop, and I love listening to it. So go ahead and follow them on Spotify. Their link is attached to our show notes too at the very end. So if you
Hmm.
want to go listen to what other music they have, I would recommend it. Okay. Anything else you want to add, Hailey?
No, this is fun. I enjoyed it.
I did too. Yeah, I did too. Okay, well, we hope you enjoyed this literary journey as much as we did. If you're buzzing with excitement, don't forget to subscribe, email us, and leave a high five worthy review on your podcast listening app. Until next time, happy reading, and may your shelves be filled with tales as enchanting as a blooming garden. Keep the buzz alive, and we'll catch you in the next chapter. Bye for now.